you see this story? This is an amazing story, and I'm astonished that it's not getting a lot of coverage, but it's getting no coverage. It's almost as if the media had been called, by James Comey, the director of the FBI, and said, "Don't talk about this," because there's like nobody talking about it, and it's totally strange. There's this thing called the Stingray. This is a brand name. It's the manufacturer's name. And it's a box. They make a portable version and they make a little larger version that you set up wherever you want to do it. You can do it in a subway station. You can do it in a mall. You can do it in the middle of town. You can do it in your apartment. And what this thing does is it pretends it's a cell tower. So you're walking down the street, and as you're walking down the street or driving down the street, your phone is moving from cell tower to cell tower as your destination changes. And so you come into the area of one of these things, and some of them actually even have the ability to send out a signal that shuts down other nearby, that basically jams other nearby cell towers. So this is the only cell tower that any phone in its range, within a few blocks or a few, who knows what the range is, any phone within its range is going to lock into this thing. Now, these phony cell towers then, they hook them up to a telephone line and to an internet connection. And so from your phone, it looks like you can make phone calls, and you can. And it looks like you can access the internet, and you can, although it might be a little slow. But here's the rub. This contraption this is basically what's called a man-in-the-middle attack. This contraption, this Stingray, and there's a whole bunch of other brands as well, allows whoever owns it to listen to every telephone conversation and to deep packet inspect or inspect in any way it wants all the internet traffic, and arguably to even go into the individual phones that are hooked up to it and snatch their metadata, who they called, what their contacts are, what they're up to. And the way we learned about this in a big way is this trial. Tadra McKenzie, who you've probably never heard of. This guy and two of his buddies, Ellen Nakashima is writing about this in the Washington Post on February 22nd. The headline is "Secrecy Around Police Surveillance Equipment Proves a Case's Undoing." And Ellen Nakashima writes, "The case against Tadra McKenzie looked like an easy win for prosecutors. He and two buddies robbed a small-time pot dealer of $130 worth of weed using BB guns. Under Florida law, that was robbery with a deadly weapon with a sentence of at least 4 years in prison. But before trial, his defense team detected investigators' use of a secret surveillance tool. In an unprecedented move, a state judge ordered the police to show the device, a cell tower simulator, sometimes called a Stingray, to the attorneys. Rather than show the equipment, the state offered McKenzie a plea bargain, 6 months of probation. You don't go to jail. We don't want to talk about this machine that we've got." And then Ellen Nakashima writes, "McKenzie's case is emblematic of a growing but hidden use by local law enforcement of sophisticated surveillance technology borrowed from the national security world. The Tallahassee police used the Stingray or a similar device in more than 250 investigations over a 6-year period," the Washington Post notes. Stingray's manufacturer, Harris Corp., has told the FCC that the device is only used in emergencies. But at least 48 state and local law enforcement agencies in 20 states in the District of Columbia have bought these contraptions. In Baltimore, a judge is again reading from the Washington Post piece, in Baltimore, a judge is pushing back against the refusal of police officers to answer questions while testifying, presumably about this machine. In Charlotte, following a newspaper investigation, the state's attorney is reviewing whether prosecutors illegally withheld information about this. In Tacoma, Washington, after a separate newspaper investigation found that judges in almost 200 cases had no idea that they were issuing orders for the Stingray. The court set new rules requiring police to disclose the tool's use. I mean, this is pretty mind-boggling. And by the way, it's not necessarily just police agencies. I had talked some months ago about an article that I'd seen here in D.C., in the local D.C. media, about how there are at least 13 of these towers in downtown Washington, D.C. And I believe that there's one over by the White House, because every time I walk within 2 blocks of the White House, my phone goes totally nuts. And it makes perfect sense. I mean, if I was Secret Service charged with protecting the White House, I would put one of these contraptions into place and listen into every conversation, listening for somebody to say, okay, get up there with that, whatever, the gun or machine gun or whatever, your bomb or whatever you're up to. I mean, it's security. It's the White House. But what happens if the guy who's running the machine is, the mafia? Or what if it's just, some local hacker who wants to steal your stuff? I mean, there's a breathtaking potential for abuse here from these devices, which are being sold all over the country now. Even our cell phones are no longer private. It's really quite astonishing where we're going and how we're doing this. So